Welcome back to the Dew Tour. You are looking at the modified super pipe. Todd, so many years we've been coming here and we've seen this pipe. It's one of the best in all of North America, but now they have modified it, added to it. Now, how does that going to affect contest riding guys that come in and just put down a run? They know from wall to wall, 6 hits, what they're going to do. Now they have to stretch themselves a little bit more.
Well, it's going to be a shocker, because a lot of these guys in the years coming up to the Olympics, all they were doing was the same run over and over and over again so they could do it in their sleep. Now we're mixing it up here. You can see right there the 2 hit features coming out of the Sphinx cat paws down there at the bottom of the half pipe. Best thing about this, I think it's really cool because you definitely get to work different lines, and the judging criteria isn't going to be your traditional, okay, we need to get 2 back-to-back double cork 10s, we need to have our 12, maybe 14. Right. Now it's like, how are you entering the pipe? What, are you maintaining your line? Maybe it's not a 1080, maybe it's just a 720, but it's stylish and it sets you up for something off the hip. That's what I like to see. I like to see guys like Danny be able to use their creativity and not have to be put into this box that says they need to do this, this, and this, like compulsory moves.
And you talked about Danny Davis a little bit, and he said in that feature, you may get just 3 hits in the actual super pipe, so that's going to put a big onus on everything else.
So be it, though. As long as those 3 hits are progressive and they're pushing what this pipe was built for, the judges don't want to see this thing like, quit half pipe in the modified super pipe. You don't just want to go back and forth because you'll be lost by the time you get down to these transfer features at the bottom. You can see right there so many different options. The bottom hit in particular, as Tina alluded to, that can either be used as a giant hip in either on the left side or the right side, or you can use it like a banked wall. Who knows?
So we are set to go to the top of the modified super pipe we go. 10 men will get 3 runs. Only the best run counts as we get ready to push the progression here in snowboard riding. First man to drop in will be from Austria. This is the first man to drop in will be Pat Burgener from Switzerland, placing 5th place in the Winter Olympics. Todd, he had a great last year in preparation for the Olympics, finishing 5th in Pyeongchang, finished 5th in the U.S. Open, which is a monster event just down the road in Vail.
And he's got some really technical tricks as well. He's got a couple that literally no one else can do. I hope that we will see him. I'm not going to foreshadow the call out because I don't know if he's going to do them, but he definitely has a unique approach to rotations. He's no stranger to riding switch backside, which is arguably the hardest way to do tricks in a super pipe. So Patrick eyeing up like he's going to be crossing over from the left side to the right side off of this shark fin. It's been nicknamed Mr. T because I pity the fool who doesn't have enough speed to make it to that downhill landing.
So Pat Burgener gets the honors of going first, his first of 3 runs, and we are underway.
Here we go, Pat crossing it up with a 720, gets that tweak out perfectly executed on that top, and now we're into the traditional walls of a super pipe. Good shine. Oh, there it is. That's one of his crazy tricks. The half Michael Chuck. Basically a giant off-axis backside 3. No one does that trick. Oh, I'm so glad we got to see that.
And now the exit.
Patrick Burgener upside down, inverted 720 into that hip landing, and then down here into a double chuck. Oh, unfortunately for him, not able to put it under him, but man, the replay. We got to take a look at that inverted off-axis backside 360. No one does that besides him. So we started off here, backside 360, kind of going cross-court, gets the indie grab, brings that around, and watch this. It's so crazy to be able to stop your rotation like this and not go the full 540. Snaps it like a Michael Chuck. The off-axis backside rotation somehow stalls that rotation out enough to re-enter the pipe backside 360, and then straight into that right there. A big switch backside move. Wow. So Patrick is definitely knowing what it takes here to put up a huge score in this thing. Super mixed up run. Unfortunately, he goes down right here on that double chuck at the bottom. You know, right there where he took off, you're going to be able to pull out pretty far because that wall isn't quite vertical. It doesn't actually give you the pop in. You've got to really force it there at the bottom. But I expect big things from him on run 2 and 3.
Great opening run for Pat Burgener out of Switzerland, a 44.67 with 2 more runs to go.
Because, look, Pat Burgener, let's just face it right now. Pat Burgener lands that run without sitting down on that last hit. That's a huge score. He was riding that thing.
This is Raibu Katayama, the 23-year-old out of Japan. Finished 7th at the Pyeongchang Games. As he gets ready, remember, he ended last season with a second-place finish at the U.S. Open behind countryman Ayumu Hirano. So much like Pat Burgener or some of these athletes finishing last year off with a big showing, and here he is now attacking the modified super pipe.
And I think they really love this format simply because you don't have to do a traditional back-to-back, a stock run as it may be. I mean, we will see ingredients. We'll see the 1080s. There's the double. That's what you would see in a typical super pipe competition. But now's where it gets interesting. That line, unfortunately for him, goes down on his heels. But that's where you start to switch up your line. Maybe maybe you can squeak in one more hit right there, but it doesn't set you up good to air into the big cat's paw landing. There's that switch backflip to fakie. So right there, Raibu, problems on his first run as well. I like this though. We're already seeing people have to try to switch things up a little bit. Frontside 7 into the beginning of this course, missing the grab unfortunately. And then some traditional half pipe moves. Nice 1080 into the double cork 1080, that double dip of the shoulder. So familiar with the double cork. It's such a buzzword when it comes to competitive half piping.
More than made up for it there with the tail grab.
Yeah, definitely did that front 12. And unfortunately for him, the 1260 didn't allow him to get that landing perfectly. So next run, look for him to pump it up because he's got some serious half-pipe moves. He just needs to kind of incorporate those other features.
29.33 becomes a throwaway for Raibu Katayama of Japan.
Run 2 and 3. Remember, 3-run format, so if your favorite
A good look at the top of the super pipe into the first feature. And that's the first thing that 19-year-old Gabe Ferguson of Bend, Oregon will be facing off. Half of the Ferguson brothers, you'll see his brother Ben momentarily, and this young man is so talented. Todd, you talk about athletes and riders that are a bit of a wild card. You would have to put him in that category. Not sure exactly what he's going to do on any run.
Well, both the Ferguson brothers, they come out of Bend, Oregon, riding Mount Bachelor, and it's one of those resorts that has a lot of natural features, so you really need to be able to work transitions to your advantage there. And they both do it so well. We see younger brother Gabe right here, that frontside 720 into that air fakie. There's the double. So I look for the Ferguson brothers. Whoa, that was crazy. Like a weird little poke out on that inverted 540. Sets him up right here. Not quite enough speed on the hip from the cat's paw. But a double on that bottom. So yeah, these guys are just getting warmed up. Best of 3. So I don't expect these guys to really be peaking till run number 3.
So Todd, the one thing you look at there is maybe a missed opportunity when he exited the super pipe onto the cat paw. Just went straight air, but that, as you said, was for a lack of speed.
Yeah, you can't land low, and that's why Danny Davis was saying earlier in the lead up to this, that you may be skipping that last hit just for speed. You may be doing a power carve, or maybe just riding down the half pipe to maintain that speed to be able to go into the cat's paw. So check this out right here, the air to fakie combo. There's his double. Now watch this next trick on the front side wall. It was crazy. There's a little additional poke in there, but watch his front leg. So it goes upside down, goes inverted, pulls it up behind him, and then gets a little tweak out of the front leg there. Here's that power carve. Unfortunately for him, not able to carry enough speed to get him off of the perfect transition point right there to do something big.
Look at this finish.
Yeah, but Gabe's got a lot left to offer, and especially, ending things off here with the double Michael Chuck, the double shoulder dip, and that backside trick. So Gabe, 2 more runs.
So Gabe Ferguson will check in on his first run with a 57.67, and as Todd mentioned, he's got 2 more runs to clean that up.
Not that far away from Gabe.
Good look at the start house here at the modified super pipe presented by Toyota, and there's an even better look at Taylor Gold sitting to drop in, the 25-year-old out of Steamboat Springs, Colorado. His sister Ariel Gold competing as well in snowboarding competitions throughout, having a great showing at the first Grand Prix at Copper Mountain just down the road.
Now, just talking a little bit about the history of, modified super pipes. Obviously, this isn't the first run. Back in the day, there was a competition called Unveiled over in Vail Ski Area, and that incorporated a lot of different elements into it, some transitions, 2 pipes next to each other. Then we moved on to the Red Bull double pipe.
Right.
There is a future in this. Danny Davis's Peace Park, you know, the riders love this because you don't get stuck in that weird little box of just back and forth half pipe riding. You kind of need something to mix it up, or you're not going to really see any progression of the sport.
It keeps it fresh.
It does, and I think the riders like that too. Oh my
mercy.
gosh! That's what happens when you pull out a little bit too far. Taylor just looking perplexed there. His back binding fully tearing out of his snowboard. Wowzers.
That is amazing. The amount of torque, Todd, that it takes to tear a binding off the board.
Yeah, I mean, literally that was like a 25-foot fall to complete and total flat.
And the fact that he's walking away, wow.
Bonus, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. You get to walk and ride another day. Jeez, I can't wait to get a look at that. He just, you know, he took off in a a little bit too close to the edge of that lip. But let's take a look back up top here. Reaching up and through, that's called a taipan. A little bit of a yoga grabbing of the board there. But I'll tell you what, he had a great run going, especially with that big inverted 540, the McTwist, off of that hip into that bank landing. There is the Michael Chuck, and then right here, taking off just a little bit too close to the edge, pulling out too far. That means you're pulling in towards the middle. And unfortunately for him, lands at the absolute bottom. Gets the rotation perfect. I mean, he pulled that thing up behind him.
I have never seen a binding tear off a board like that.
Well, it happens, but it takes some crazy leverage. I mean, that was basically the full fall out of a building. Yikes.
And the word from Tina Dixon is Taylor Gold giving the double thumbs up. The 35 will be a throwaway, but as Todd pointed out, winner, winner. He walks away unharmed.
I don't have another board or binding.
As now we get a look, it's Miller time. Toby Miller.
Toby Miller, the next athlete to drop in. Toby, just 18 years of age, coming out of Mammoth Lakes, California. As Todd has mentioned many occasions, he is somewhat of the Padawan of one Shaun White. But if you're going to follow in someo's footsteps, Shaun would not be the worst person to follow in his as far as snowboarding goes.
He's definitely come into his own. I mean, there was all that talk is because he was traveling with Shaun last year, pretty much in the Olympics. But Toby is his own. Look at the lawn dart, his own rider at this point. Laid out front flip, pioneered by the late Ben Hinckley. And then straight into the front side 900. Toby, double McTwist 1260. He's packing in some pretty heavy moves here into a front 10. Now he's switching up his line here. 540 on out of the cat's paw into that landing. Giant size air to fakie on the backside wall. And then into a switch. Oh. I don't know how he made it around on that one, but he did. That run was heavy. You had some fairly meaty, big scoring half-pipe tricks, traditional tricks. The double McTwist 1260, we saw Shaun White premiere that one in 2010 Vancouver Olympic Games, and it's crazy because literally there's been a handful of human beings on the planet that have even stepped to that trick, and Toby is just the latest to snap into it. There it is right there. Gets that traditional boot grab on the double McTwist 1260. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just because there's just so much crazy rotating going on that it's really hard to actually grab a hold of the rail on your board. Sorry, Toby, but I'm calling you out. You're young enough that you should be able to grab that board. Into the 540 right here. And then I love this. Watch the air to fakie on the backside wall. Gets that melon poked out.
But how?
Into the switch backflip. I don't know how that just happened right there. He's gonna be in the lead here for sure. Just using the stiff flex pattern of that board to propel him up and over. It's going to get even better on run number 2 for Toby because now he has a little cushion to stand on.
So the tail flexes out and Toby Miller, 18 years of age, rides away unscathed and with the best score so far, an 84.33 for young Toby Miller, which vaults him into first place. While we have a moment, let's check in with Tina Dixon and what exactly happened with Taylor Gold and that board and the binding coming apart.
Yeah, Todd. Well, I looked at that board. That front binding completely ripped off, and I asked him if he had another board, and he said, I don't. But he thinks that someone up top does have another pair of bindings that he can put on that board. So we'll have to wait and see if that's the case. But in terms of his physical condition, he said he's great. Remember, he's coming off of an injury, but he seems fine right now. It's just all about getting some new bindings on that board, guys.
Somewhere, someone on this mountain has got to have an extra binding or two or extra board that they can loan to Taylor Gold. This is Chase Josey, the 23-year-old out of Sun Valley, Idaho, set to drop in on his first venture in this modified super pipe presented by Toyota. Todd, one of the athletes that you mentioned, certainly could excel in the stylistic nature of this sport rather than just being a normal super pipe competition.
For me, Chase kind of popped onto the scene during another modified pipe event, and that was the double pipe that happened Red Bull double pipe that happened in Aspen a few years back, and that's really where I began to really take notice of this kid and how super good he is. He has some truly unique rotations in the pipe. I hope we get to see his version of the double chuck as well. So dropping in here, switch stance into this first hit. There is a switch 540 into a big switch Michael chuck. And then into a double right there. So Chase making it look good in the pipe. Here's that transfer over. Frontside 900 out. And then into the, unfortunately, alley-oop rodeo flip. It was right there, though.
So Chase Josey, who finished 6th in that heavy men's half-pipe final in Pyeongchang back in February, will look to runs 2 and 3. And Todd, on the last hit of the run, unable to put it to his feet.
It's a bummer, too, because his run was super technical. There is a switch frontside 540, the opposite of his stance. Very difficult, setting himself up for a switch Michael chuck. Anything switch backside in snowboarding is crazy, crazy difficult. And you combo that into the double 10. And then straight into this transfer that basically is a frontside 900 off a straight jump. Off of that, into that landing, and that set him up for that switch alley-oop trick on the next wall that he went down on. So there it is, the 900 transfer out. And then here into the switch alley-oop rodeo. And unfortunately for him, I mean, you talk about, I was talking switch the entire time,
right,
riding the opposite of his stance, so that's definitely upping the difficulty factor.
41.33 does not help Chase Josey's cause. He will look to runs 2 and 3 in the 3-run format. In the midst of run number 1 of 3, it is young Toby Miller, the 18-year-old out of Mammoth Lakes, that leads the way with an impressive 84.33. Gabe Ferguson in second. Pat Burgener of Switzerland currently sitting in third, but there are still 2 more runs to go. What a beautiful day here in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. The Dew Tour in its 11th year coming to beautiful Breck, putting on a show today. As we mentioned at the top of the show, very little wind, blue skies, fresh snow dropping earlier in the week, and this modified super pipe is a thing to behold. Now, you need to have a lot of style and a lot of skill even to drop into this thing, and our next competitor has both of those in spades. Danny Davis, the 30-year-old, he is the elder statesman in this group, and the Mountain Dew athlete is ready to show you exactly what he can do. Todd, he's won so many contests, but I think he's in his wheelhouse here with this modified super pipe. This is where he excels.
Yeah, and if you've paid attention to Danny Davis's career over the years, Danny was a really accomplished slopestyle rider in the past. And those kind of skills translate perfectly into this modified super pipe. You've got this first hit here. Danny's been doing a backside 720 into his runs to start it off, and then it's anyone's guess what Danny Davis is going to do in this pipe, and I'm happy about that.
He can adapt like no one else. He does so well on almost any terrain, backcountry riding, Phil Meadows, whatever it is, Danny Davis is your guy.
There's a backside rodeo 720, kind of coming up a little weird on that landing. Now Danny into the super pipe. Giant backside air to get things going. Straight into a frontside 900. Danny, big Indy air. This is kind of like he knows what's up. He knows he didn't get that landing perfect. So he's kind of just cruising 720. So D. Davis, this isn't going to be a run that's going to net him that big score. But you can see, you know, all the style oozing. And I'll tell you what, if we don't get a replay of that big backside air, I'm going to be mad at somebody in a highly technologically advanced TV truck down below.
Danny Davis having issues on the very first feature, the Mr. T. Kind of set the tone for the rest of the top. But as you said, he has all the makings. Here it is one more time. I'm going to put it straight down.
Backside rodeo, 720, grabbing the nose, lands a little too hard. But watch this. There's the backside air, grabs method, kicks that back leg way up above him. Picture perfect. Someone got a gram right there that's going to net them at least 100 likes. Straight into the front side 900. Really clean. Danny Davis's style, second to none in the half pipe. Even this India right there. Just bones that back leg down. And then unfortunately for him, had a couple little problems here. The backside 720 out. A little bit of a hand drag, and then right here on this frontside alley-oop. The alley-oop frontside air lands a little too hard on his heels and slides out. So Danny cleaned that up for run number 2, and then really put the pedal to the metal on run 3.
So a throwaway run for Danny Davis as he'll make his way back to the top of the modified super pipe for runs 2 and 3.
Now we look to Ben Ferguson.
Ben Ferguson set to drop in. We saw his younger brother Gabe earlier have an amazing run. Had a few issues in there, but he currently sits in second place with a 57.67. This is the older version, also out of Bend, Oregon, and the pride of Mount Bachelor. 23-year-old Ben Ferguson now dropping in. And Todd, if there's anyone that can, I guess, follow in the same style pattern and ways that Danny Davis rides, it's going to be this young man, Ben Ferguson.
Yeah, you gotta hand it to these brother combos in a couple different sports. I mean, these two, Ben and Gabe, really remind me of like the Coffin brothers in surfing. They push each other, each have unique styles and different things they bring. Oh, unfortunately, that switch backside rodeo kind of chucking him, but total adaptation by Ben Ferguson right here. Giant size, crazy shifty to fakie. There's another rider having problems on his first run. So Ben, pressure on for run number 2 and 3. Ooh, look at that power car on the top of the lip. Love the way that he rides. And I totally credit that to Mount Bachelor and riders like the legendary Josh Dirksen, who's also from Bend, Oregon. It's all about fluidity and not fighting the terrain, just letting it send you where it needs to. And that's a really hard skill to master. And it's not really a skill you just have that. That's your style.
So run 1 becomes a practice run for Ben Ferguson. The good news is it is a 3-run format, only your best run counts. Let's take a look at this one more time, Todd. And again, like Danny Davis, Mr. T, the landing kicked him.
Yeah, here's that switch backside rodeo. It lands a little hard, and what that does is it basically bounces you off of your clean landing. So then, just kind of cruised it, kind of adapted. There's that big method air towards the end. It's every rider's favorite trick. It really is. I think if you polled all the riders out here, what is your favorite move to do, and they would all tell you that right there.
Look at that. There's your gram.
Nice kick out. Ooh. Oh. Christmas cards for everybody. So Ben Ferguson has 2 more runs. See if he can soul surf his way onto the podium today.
Yeah, 16, not going to do him any good. He gives a sarcastic arm pump.
We saw him do a slash run, I think, last year where he got a 10 on the run. Did not fall, but was all slashes.
The man who traveled the furthest to get here, Scotty James out of Australia, the 2018 Olympic bronze medalist, second in the Dew Tour in 2017, and now Scotty James coming off that big win at the first Grand Prix just a few weeks ago down the road at Copper Mountain.
It's going to be really interesting to see a contrasting style here from Ben Ferguson to Scotty James. Scotty James, said it a million times, I'll say it again, he is the most technical half-pipe rider that has ever strapped in. The ability that he has to do switch backside tricks with ease is just nuts. Big switch backside rodeo to start things off. And then straight into the pipe, going switch into his first hit. Switch backside 1080 to start the runoff. Straight into a backside 1260. Scotty James adapting nicely. I can't wait to see what happens here. What is his line into the cat's paw? Big stalefish 540 and then into the hip. Scotty James, giant method air, kicks super high. We have a new leader, ladies and gentlemen. That was how you ride a modified super pipe.
The 24-year-old from Warren Dyke about 45 minutes outside of Melbourne, just laid down an absolute smoker run, Todd. And when he exited the super pipe, I thought, well, here's where the creativity juices have got to flow, and he certainly delivered.
This huge switch backside rodeo stomps that landing. We saw Ferguson go down on that earlier. And then he enters the pipe, switch backside, straight into a switch backside 1080. That trick is virtually impossible without years of slamming to figure out. Straight into a combo, into a backside 1260, into a gigantic nose grab frontside 1080, and that was just the setup for the cat's paw. Switch 540, and then, you know, right into that giant method air. So, Scotty James, man, oh man, that run, that score would possibly be punching. Whose method's bigger?
Who's got the best screensaver?
Yeah, that's a big method right there. Kicking it way out above his head. Scotty throwing the brakes on because he doesn't want to fly over into peak 9 here at Breckenridge. We're going to have a giant score. What do you think? I'm saying like 91.
And a 93-3 for Scotty James to open it up on his first run in the modified super pipe. Oh my, the new leader standing by with Tina Dixon.
Yeah, what a score for the first run, Scotty. This is a completely new event. At what point did you figure your line out?
I don't think I made it to the bottom once in practice. It's testing all of us, but you know, that's the whole, I guess that's the idea of it. So it's exciting, and I'm out of breath right now. It's pretty intense. It's fun though.
Especially that bottom air, that big method. How was that for you? Because the crowd down here absolutely loved it, and that's part of this event that makes it so special. Yeah,
100%. I think this event in particular really embodies what snowboarding is all about. It's every individual rider, you know, has their own creative style, and this course is enabling us to kind of do that. So it's really fun for us at the bottom for sure.
And what a giant score to start things out with. Guys?
Thank you, Tina. A 93-3 for Scotty James on his very first run. Remember, he's got 2 more to go. And remember, this young man really burst on the scene at age 15 when he made his Olympic debut at the Vancouver Games, placing 21st in the half pipe. So a 93.33 has set the standard, and now Jake Pates drops in. Now remember, Todd, he came last year and won the Dew Tour, pulling out a trick that had never been done, that backside double McTwist 1260 with tail grab.
Yeah, and I look for him to possibly throw that into this run here somewhere. There's a backside double chuck, getting that one done into a double 10 and going down. So 2 more runs for him as well, but Pates definitely has some crazy moves that could net giant scores because no one else does them. But I'm going to be honest with you right now. The switch backside moves that we've seen from Scotty James, in my opinion, I don't really think those are beatable in a traditional sense. You're going to have to really think outside the box here and bring some crazy moves into the transfers to take down that combo that's up there in the traditional part of this super pipe.
So Jake Pates gets a cruiser run there, the defending champion from last year. And Todd, you talk about style and technicality. Scotty James had it, and now you know Jake Pates has got to match it, feeling the pressure here as he goes down.
Jake just didn't get enough rotation on that switch double cork. Watches his landing comes in here, doesn't get his board down flat based. He's still kind of a little bit in the heels. Once you got to get that board, once you come around the rotation, you got to get that board to land flat so you can counter correct onto your toes for the next wall.
So Pates out of Eagle, Colorado, not the score he was looking for, but 1 run is now complete. 10 men have made their way down the modified super pipe presented by Toyota with mixed results, but one man that is standing tall, the tallest man in the competition for that matter, and that is none other than Scotty James. He drops a 93-3. Toby Miller, the next closest competitor, the American, sitting in second, and Gabe Ferguson sitting in third with a relatively pedestrian 57.67 for Gabe Ferguson. Runs 2 and 3 still to come as the progression continues here in beautiful Breckenridge, Colorado. You are watching the Dew Tour, built by Mountain Dew. Back in beautiful Breckenridge, Colorado, the 11th year that the Dew Tour's been coming to this snowboarding mecca high atop the Rocky Mountains. Alongside snowboarding icon Todd Richards, I am Todd Harris as we take a look at the current standings after one run. It is Scotty James way out in front with a 93.3. Toby Miller, the 18-year-old out of Mammoth Lake, sitting in second, 84.33 as we get set for the second run of three. We've got a special treat for you. We're going to drop in some celebrity voice only, that of multi-time Dew Tour champion Louis Vito. Louis, welcome to the show.
Dude, I am stoked to be here. Beautiful day and amazing snowboarding.
Yeah, it really is. Louis, hey, it's Todd here, the other one. We were talking in the break there just about how crazy the progression has gotten in, just in half-pipe riding in general. When you're looking at this thing, do you think it's harder to kind of wrap your brain around having to hit jumps before you actually go into the pipe and like modifying your line to be able to make it score worthy?
I think the hardest thing is keeping your speed and keeping the exact line to hit the jump landing out of the half pipe, and that's the hardest thing. And you see these riders, they've dialed it in pretty good. They're doing double, and then still being in a perfect line to hit more or less a jump at the end of it.
Do you like these kind of pipes that kind of give us more options, and we'll see different kind of things in the future? Just mixing things up a little bit.
I think it creates such a good vibe up at the top. I'm up here and it's not tense like a normal half pipe contest. Everybody's having a good time. Everybody's giving each other knucks at the top, and just kind of feeding off of each other. And I think that's really going to help the progression of the sport at the end of the day.
All right, we've got Louis Vito here. We might as well use him. You got the pipes warmed up. You ready to call some runs, Louis?
Yeah, I'm gonna try, man. This is tricky. You guys have a hard job with all these different features in here now.
Louis Vito taking a break from his competitive nature, getting ready for a big Rose Bowl competition where his beloved Buckeyes will be competing against the Washington Huskies. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Pat Burgener, Louis, on run number 2.
Hey, Louis.
I love this alley-oop right here. It just starts out, and the pop they get is so beautiful on it.
Let's talk about this next trick that's about to go down the half Michael Chuck. This thing is nuts.
Talking about progression, it's not always the bigger and better trick. That's just so unique. Right into a switchback 9. I mean, it's just so creative and so different than everybody else.
And that's what I think is the best thing about this modified super pipe is it really kind of frees up the judges as well as the riders to kind of reward that stuff that we as the riders are always like, that was the sickest thing ever.
And also what's great is if we watch Pat's first run, he just did a different run than his first run. There's so many different options, and you don't get into the routine of doing the same thing every single run. And Pat just showed us right there, especially at the bottom, switching it up from the double Michael Chuck and just to the switchback rodeo.
So this should be a big improvement, Louis. His first run score was a 44.67. We'll take a look at some of these in slow-mo as Pat Burgener out of Switzerland comes down and gets a full pull with a lot of style. And Todd, I know you love this open from Pat Burgener.
Yeah, a nice backside 720, but Louis, watch this combo, and it's truly one of the most technical combos in the half pipe to date. This weird 360 Michael Chuck kind of stops his rotation and then into the switch backside tricks. Louis, try to articulate how hard it is to spin switch backside that big.
Switch backside is just tricky because it's so different than any kind of riding you normally do. It's not like riding switch down the hill. There's so many G's pulling on you and you're going backwards. And so any switch backside trick that's going that big is a lot harder than it probably seems.
Yep, and then the switch backflip to fakie here into the backflip to fakie. I mean, this is a good combo down there at the bottom. I'm looking for him to bump out probably into third, I would say.
And Pat Burgener's score coming in, and Todd is once again Nostradamus with an 83. Pat Burgener, and he slides into third place. Glad to have three-time winner here, Breckenridge, Louis Vito, joining us on the call as we get ready for our next competitor. This is Raibu Katayama, the 23-year-old out of Japan, finished 7th at the half-pipe competition in Pyeongchang at the Olympics. And Louis, this sport has become an international thing where you have athletes really popping on the scene from not only Japan and China, but all around the world. You look at the top place guy right now, Scotty James from Australia.
And they really have just popped up. Like, Raibu's been on the scene for a while, but, something just clicked and he started putting down these hammer runs when it counted in the contest. And, he didn't even know what happened after that front double 12 he did, which to me is the best front double 12 in the game. So I expect him to come out with a bang and probably stomp it this time.
All right, setting up with that front side 7. That landing seems to be giving these guys a little bit of a problem, Louis. Is there any chatter up there in the start gate about the flatness of that first landing?
I think a lot of it's just the speed, making sure they have enough speed and they don't have to force the trick around at the end.
Here comes that front dub that you love. Wow, that really is a thing of beauty, especially grabbing tail. Very difficult to rotate when grabbing tail. And the backside rodeo. What do we got for the rest of his run here, Louis?
Got a switch. Back rodeo, stomping it, and we cannot easily say that was better than his first run. And like I said, he didn't even know how he fell the first run on the front double 12 because it was kind of a weird thing, and there you go, he stomped it that time.
This will be a big improvement. His first run score was just a 29.33, so that'll be a throwaway after this score drops.
Louis, when you drop into your runs, when you're competing, do you kind of black out and go into full cruise control? Are you super aware of where you are and what tricks need to go where?
It's funny, the half pipe is relatively narrow, but I still think of so many different things between each trick.
Wow.
And it might be whether it's okay, hold your speed here, or, all right, patience. But as far as the tricks go, yeah, it's just automatic. You kind of just go cruise control, muscle memory. But, with this course, it's a lot of riders are going to have to improvise because you might not have that perfect line, and you got to kind of think fast on your feet. But I love it. It keeps your mind working, and it's not like reading a book, but I think it makes your mind work a little bit harder than that.
I definitely hope that, ski areas kind of provide terrain like this for riders to kind of brush up on. I really think that this is the future to keep things interesting. It combines all the elements we love to ride.
And the score coming now down for Raibu Katayama. Remember, 29.33 on run number 1. It's an improvement at 56.67 for run 2, and that has him currently slotted into 5th.
I think he just needs to clean up after that front double 12 and flow a little bit more to the exit feature on that, and I think his score will just skyrocket.
Like that.
Louis Vito, you good for one more run as we take a look at the current standings?
Of course, man. I'm loving it up here.
All right, Scotty James still the leader with a 93.3. Toby Miller in second. Pat Burgener jumping into third with an 83. And next man to drop in out of Bend, Oregon, Mount Bachelor will be Gabe Ferguson, the 19-year-old. Todd, we love to watch this kid ride because you never know what you're going to get. It may be phenomenal. It may be a little bit unchecked. It may be on the ragged edge.
And that's exactly how we like to watch both of the Ferguson brothers ride. I mean, these two guys coming straight out of Bend, Oregon, using all that free riding, basically just wherewithal from growing up riding Mount Bachelor's crazy little transfer transitions and applying it to modern snowboarding is amazing. All right, Louis, talk us through what we're going to see here from Gabe.
Frontside 720, would you guys call that? I get confused on that feature.
Yeah.
Such great style.
I think the rotation would be considered a frontside 720. Kind of switches up, but there's that big air to fakie as a setup.
Right into the cap, double cork, just getting it in. You know, a lot of it, you got to have carry the speed. You know, you can see the riders when they land perfect, their hits flow and they have good amplitude, but one little mess up and it really affects your speed going to the next hit.
And it seemed like that was the case in the very first hit, like a lot of the other guys, Todd and Louis. They're landing, I don't know if it's a rough spot, but they're coming up and hitting it really hard, either dragging a hand or just checking up speed.
You know, I really think, too, that maybe you have to kind of switch up your line a little bit to accommodate those tricks that you know you can power out of with speed. Maybe they're not going to be as technical, but maybe you can make up for that on the bottom features because you'll have plenty of speed.
You know, and I want to remind everybody, too, you know, this is a new thing. So you don't see a lot of these shark fin quarter pipes to jump landing. So it's very new for a lot of these riders who only have a couple days of really experiencing this landing and this takeoff. So it's definitely a little tricky, but I expect, you know, as the riders get more and more comfortable as this progresses, that you're going to see bigger and bigger tricks.
Yeah, as we see right here, coming around just a little bit short on this double rotation. You see him not squaring up with the other wall, washing out on his heels. Gabe will have a lot of pressure on him going into run 3. Louis, always a pleasure.
Thank you guys for letting me hang out, and hope you guys enjoy the rest of the competition.
All right, thank you very much. Louis Vito, a champion here at Breckenridge, Colorado at the Dude Tour, lending his vocal stylings and his fashion statement, bringing out the faux fur here, keeping himself toasty warm at the top of the modified super pipe. Scotty James leads the way with a 93.3. He laid that down on his first run of 3. We're in the midst of run number 2. And the next man to drop in, this will be very interesting to see if Taylor Gold actually answers the call, Todd, with a new board or a new binding. Remember, his first run, he completely blew his binding out of his board on that big fall at the bottom of the modified super pipe.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see whether or not that he blew his binding straight and ripped out inserts, or he just cracked the base plate. Best case scenario, probably just the base plate broke on his binding. Here's the big 540 out into the flats, complete abrupt stop.
I don't think any binding.
Watch this right here. Pulls it up behind this big McTwist transfer and just pulls out a little too far. He's aware of where he is. I thought his knees were just going to blow into the snow right there. Luckily, I'm saying luckily, his binding broke. So binding Gabe instead of his bones. That's a good time right there.
So his coach is able to wrangle another set of bindings, and he is good to go. Taylor Gold out of Steamboat Springs, Colorado. His sister Ariel Gold, the Olympic bronze medalist from Pyeongchang, and this young man, and he's got so much style, so much ability. Todd, he's had a few injuries that have kind of slowed him down, but when he is on, he is money.
Okay, I'll tell you what, right now, all he's thinking about is making it to that last hit with some redemption. What I don't want to see is him undercooking that McTwist and landing on top of the deck because he thinks he needs to not pull out as much. Air to fakie, Stalefish to fakie on the front side wall, setting them up here into a 1080. And then into a big 540. Now the transfers start. There is the Michael Chuck nose grab, and here comes the McTwist. Is he going to match the transition that time? Not quite.
All right, when you talk about matching the transition, what are you talking about there?
You need to land. Basically, the transition only has so much slope. If you out-jump that slope to land on, you're going to land flat. So when I mean matching, you've got to catch the top of that transition where it's actually steep and it's not like falling into a parking lot. So unfortunately for Taylor on run number 2, not able to put it down, but silver lining here. He doesn't have any broken bones. His snowboard is good to go, and he's back in for run number 3. Landed in a way better spot right there, but just washed out on his heels. There's another look at it. There's that McTwist up and over. I love that rotation that he's able to do there. That's not easy to do, to be able to go off a straight jump and do that rotation and match a transition like that.
So for Taylor Gold, it's still a double thumbs up. He's healthy, he's walking away, he's got another set of bindings, but he's gonna have to look to the third and final run if he has any shot at the podium. The sun is out and the modified Super Pipe is in perfect condition. Little to no breeze as the world's best have converged on Breckenridge, Colorado. We are in the midst of run number 2 of this final competition. This is 18-year-old Toby Miller. He currently sits in second place. Why? Because on his first run, he threw down a very impressive 84.33, which is second only to the leader right now, Australia's Scotty James, with a 93.33.
So check him out right here. Doing a little muscle memory prep. I think that's for the double McTwist 1260. This is going to be that long dart again. Boing. Just kind of jacking the boxes himself, front flip style. And then here he is into the pipe, starting things off. Nice front side 900. That's a setup. The double McTwist 1260 dips that shoulder twice. Doesn't quite come around on that rotation. That's a really crazy trick. I mean, we saw Scotty James do a backside 1260. Completely different style of rotating it to get the degrees of rotation required around. There's another nollie front flip on the backside wall. So we're going to look for Toby on run number 3 to clean that up, maybe land a little higher on that first hit to set him up better for that double twist.
Well, let me ask you this Super Pipe here at Breckenridge is always one of the very best, and those 22-foot walls have to be icy so they can maintain their speed going up and down. But the rest of the course, how sharp are the edges on these boards these guys are running today?
Basically, the transitions are so big here now. 22 feet is no joke. You'd have to kind of be riding almost like what would be considered a traditional race board back in the day. It's flexible, but they're not soft. Right. And those edges are definitely razor sharp. You need to be able to land, set that edge, and just rock across on your heels. There's that double McTwist 1260. Just doesn't get the the perfect rotation. So sliding out on his heels.
Good news for Toby Miller. He gets to hold on to that 84.33. That 24 becomes a throwaway for him in our 3-run format where only your best run counts.
The podium spot, he can hold on. That's funny because Scotty James won at Copper at the GP, and Toby Miller.
23-year-old Chase Josey out of Sun Valley, Idaho, finishing 6th at the half pipe in Pyeongchang.
Chase Josey has a super unique form of rotating on some of his tricks. He's just got really great style. His composure in the air really sets him apart from the other riders. Here we go. There's the backside rodeo in. Coming in now, switch into his first hit. This would be let's see here, just a big switch frontside 540 into a switch double chuck. Now we're talking technical moves straight into the double 10. Much better than his first run. Into that 900 transfer. And there's that alley-oop 720 rodeo. Now we're talking.
So the mark to beat a 93.33. Chase Josey with a full pull top to bottom with a lot of creativity, Todd. It was a good run. I don't know if it was a 93.3 run.
No, but it's definitely going to pump him up there. It's going to be interesting to see where he sits based on, Pat Burgener's crazy technical run. Because this run in itself also crazy technical. There's that switch frontside 540, grabs switch stalefish. And then just drops his shoulder twice on this crazy switch double Michael Chuck. Switch backside tricks, as we've said, hardest tricks to rotate. They're very, very blind. A lot of risk involved with them. Takes years and years and years and lots of slams to get them right. There's that transfer. And there's the alley-oop switch 720. Check it out right here. Pops around, gets that shoulder whip in for the extra rotation. Kind of slid just a little bit of that rotation around. We're going to have to see where the judges pop him for this.
Yeah, an 88.33 for Chase Josey.
Bumping into second here.
So Chase Josey jumping all the way into second place behind Australia's Scotty James.
Well, and take a look, Keeper. Now, yesterday, your 2 top scores Josey and Toby Miller. Where are they at today? Second and third, respectively.
Danny Davis in the start house, the elder statesman of this competition, really a trailblazer when it comes to bringing style back to half-pipe riding. Well, this is the modified super pipe presented by Toyota, and this plays right into Danny Davis's skill set.
That's right. Danny Davis has his own signature event called Peace Park that incorporates a lot of the features that we're seeing here, transfers in and out of the half-pipe, truly making the riders forced to be creative. Danny Davis, unpredictable. As soon as he gets into half-pipe, he's got crazy switch tricks, some of the best style in the biz. Let's see if he brings it here on run number 2.
Much better start.
Yeah, way better start on that alley-oop rodeo power car to start things off. Big top turn into a frontside 900. So much style. Nose grab, backside 720. Switch method air. Super crazy to keep that thing composed into a 540 tail grab. Now Danny is working the bottom of this thing. Big alley-oop 540.
Okay.
There we go. Danny Davis puts one down. That switch method air, I would say, was the pinnacle of that run. Super good style.
Only one way to go for Danny Davis. He's currently mired in 9th place with a 21. Todd, this would be a huge improvement. But at the start again, you see him landing hard and the hand coming all the way down on the compression.
That's just an impact, a compression hand down. It's not like he's keeping his hand down to regain composure. He just hits so hard. There's that frontside 900, Danny Davis dipping almost like a frontside double 900, just the way he dipped his shoulder. Backside 720. I love this combo. Love that trick. Love this one too. Switch method air, going backwards, doing it in reverse. Going into that switch 540 here, grabbing tail, and then just carving across into this traveling alley-oop 540. So Danny Davis, the style, you see the little arm up in the end there. Not to mention that crazy surf, like top turn he did into that first hit. I love the way Danny Davis rides. I'm a huge D. Davis fan.
Mountain Dew athlete Danny Davis, 30 years of age, a big improvement for him as he jumps up to a 75.67. Has him in the top 5 as we check in with Tina.
Yeah, and Danny, in terms of creativity and coming up with a new line, how close was that to what you wanted to do?
Oh, man, I've been trying to put something together in there all week. And that one, I got to the end, and I was like, all right, let's just land one. Just get through this whole thing. And it's fun, though. It's so fun to see everybody trying to put together different stuff. You got Pat and Toby and Chase and Scotty putting together things that they never get to. So it's a cool contest.
I don't think people realize that a lot of you guys have a slope-style background and that you do hit features like that. And so to be able to add that stuff to a traditional half-pipe run, how is that for you guys?
It's been super fun. I mean, we ride everything. We try to ride everything. Scotty James is an insane slope-style rider. Chase, Josey, Gabe Ferguson, those kids can rip jumps. So to see them kind of bring those tricks into here and we're just, a bunch of different transition, it's really fun for us. So I hope everybody's enjoying it.
Oh, it's absolutely fun down here to watch you guys. All right, Danny, one more run. Todd.
The pride of Highland, Michigan, Danny Davis jumping into a top 5 position. Halfway through run number 2 of 3, it is still Australia's Scotty James with the best score, 93.33 in this modified super pipe. Chase Josey now in second, Toby Miller sitting in third.
Yeah, and these guys are definitely, they're knocking the cobwebs out. Run number 1, a little shaky for some of these riders with the exception of like a Scotty James and a Toby Miller, but run number 2, they're going to peak at the right time here. The sun is getting into a perfect place here at Breck. It's warm out. These walls are giving a little bit. And what does that mean for you and I who are watching? They're going to take bigger risks. We're going to see more complicated lines.
So down to the final 3 competitors here in run number 2. It'll be Ben Ferguson, number 23-year-old out of Bend, Oregon in Mount Bachelor.
Here you go, Ben Ferguson. Let's see if he can clean this up here. Run number 1 was a bit of a hot mess. So run number 2, setting the pace here. This will be a switch backside rodeo flip.
Mr. T setting the tone.
Setting the tone, holding on to it this time. Ferguson looking for that big air to fakie for hit number 1. There it is, in the air, well over everyone's heads, setting them up into this giant double. Oh, and unfortunately, not able to get that rotation around. I think it was just by virtue of speed. That air to fakie, they're very complicated to make sure that you, like, once again, match transition, land towards the top of the wall. I mean, wow, that was a giant backside 360. That basically just completely sabotaged my thought process there because that was so insane.
Todd, as we go back to the top of Ben Ferguson's run and we start with the Mr. T feature right in the middle as they come out of the gate, it seems like a lot of athletes, if they don't land that perfectly, they seem to scrub just a little bit of speed, and that seems to be the case on his run here.
Yeah, here it is. Here is the switch backside rodeo. He's going to set him up landing forward, but that impact is so hard.
Right
and then
there.
to get back on your heels in control, that's kind of hard. And then after that air to fakie, he goes into this double, just didn't have enough pop, enough snap off the lip to get his rotation initiated, and doesn't put his board down perfectly. But hey, why not just do a 15-foot high stalefish backside 360 to end off your run? Pressure's on, run number 3. I like the drama. Let's see if Ben can deliver on his next attempt.
I'll run for him. Now, okay, what's Scotty James is playing?
Hope you got yourself a nice frosty cold Mountain Dew in hand for these next 2 riders, the final 2 of run number 2. It'll be the leader, Scotty James, who's currently sitting on a 93.33, and he's back for more. Remember, he's got 2 more runs to add to that score. So only your best score that we take away at the end of the day. And Todd, talk about something to build off of. A 93.3 on run 1.
The big rockin' Roo right here has a little bit of breathing room. He's got crazy lines. He's got a switch double cork 1440. I don't know if he's going to need to do it. I think he's just going to pull out here and maybe just do a run that's similar, maybe clean it up where he wants to. There's that beautiful switchback rodeo. You see how perfectly that sets him up for hit number 1. A lot of speed, jumps it around, switch back 10, doing that like it ain't no thing, into more of a double corked backside 1260, gigantic frontside 10, but washes out. But you know what? Scotty James, he's sitting on a big velvet cushion of a
playing with house money.
93.33.
Scotty James with the best scores so far. He can take some chances. He has 1 more run, and the onus is on everyone else to track him down. That 93.3, Todd, I can't imagine what it's going to take. It's going to be something we have not seen that's going to have to go past the 93.3.
Yeah, but you know what? Run number 3s oftentimes do that. They bring out the best in these riders. Okay, here's that switch backside 1080. Oh, jeez. That thing is just so nuts. Into more of a double style backside 1260. You saw his head dip the second time. Huge, huge front 10, but washing out right there. Let's have another look at it. Gets the nose grab. Look how high he is, man.
My goodness.
He's like 12 feet out.
Of a 22-foot wall pipe.
And then just kind of slides it around. So Scotty James, run number 3. Look at another crack at it, but like we keep saying, that big score is going to hold.
Firmly in the driver's seat, 93.33, Scotty James.
This is 20-year-old Jake Pates, who's just down the road. Vale Eagle area of Colorado. Defending champion from last year when it was a traditional super pipe. Here we go with the modified super pipe, and something a little bit different. But as Danny Davis told Artina Dixon, he has crazy respect for all these guys in a slope-style modified super pipe format.
You see him here hopefully get his line together, maybe give us that double shoulder drop backside 1260 with the tail grab. You know, anytime you modify something, you void that warranty. Let's see what happens here for Jake Pates on run number 2. Switching it up a little bit. Here he is, dropping in switch into his first hit. Actually, nope, that was backside. Big backside double Michael Chuck. There's a setup. Into the back-to-back doubles. And washing out just a little bit there. So run number 3 as well for him. A lot more focus now on what it means to put down a solid run on your 3rd attempt here in the modified super pipe. Tons of pressure. Hopefully we don't see conservative riding.
You look up the belly of that beast, it's like the Grand Canyon. You see how big those walls are, 22-foot walls. They come all the way down, and it's just amazing that they are able to negotiate that, and the skill that it takes, not only to ride this thing, but a lot of these tricks, Todd, as you said, switch or backwards.
Yeah, and you know, you just talk about, you're basically blending what we see in the men's slopestyle competition. The jumps are fairly close to the same size, but now you're also just throwing those in to a half-pipe competition as well. Riding a traditional super pipe, you get pretty gassed out going back and forth. You lose breath, but now you've got to throw jumps in here. This is twice as long as your normal super pipe comp, breaking things up quite a bit, a lot more hits to do. And we're up here at altitude in Breckenridge. We're over 10,000 feet. A lot of these guys are used to it, but 10,000 feet and a run that long will gas out the best of us.
You and I were talking about it today, just bending over and strapping in at 12,000 feet. You feel it.
Yeah, but I'm old. These guys are sprightly.
So here we go. Jake Pates will check in, and now the pressure on him. That 27.33 is what he's stuck with, as Louis Vito gives him a little pat on the back and a little word of wisdom as we take a look at the standings with 1 run to go. Scotty James still leads the way, 93.3. Young Chase Josey and Toby Miller trying to track him down, 88 and 84.3 respectively. And the defending champion, Jake Pates, currently mired in 9th place. But it is all the Fighting Roo, the pride of Australia, Scotty James, by virtue of a first run mastery of 93.3, leads the way. The final runs when we return to beautiful Breckenridge, Colorado. This is the Dew Tour, built by Mountain Dew, and it's the modified Super Pipe Final. Breckenridge, Colorado is the site. The Dew Tour is the reason. As we welcome you back alongside Todd Richards and Tina Dixon, I am Todd Harris. Scotty James, the name you need to know right now, the 2018 Olympic bronze medalist in halfpipe, leads the way with a 93.33. He laid that down on his first of 3 runs. We are now down to the 3rd and final run, so 10 more runs to determine this year's champion. Pat Burgener will get things started, the young man out of Switzerland. Almost left the sport a few years ago, Todd, after a series of really serious injuries. He said, you know what, I'm done rehabbing. I love my music, my travel. I'm going to do that. But then the love came back, and he came back to the sport. And right now, he is in a good spot. Pat Burgener within striking distance, currently sitting in 4th place.
Yeah, and I consider Pat's run, if he does the same one, to be one of the most interesting out here, just by virtue of what we're going to see on his 2nd hit in the super pipe. Now he's got that backside 720 transfer, and then he goes straight into the pipe and gives us a move that I'm fairly certain that he's the only one that's ever done it on purpose. It's crazy. I'm going to talk about that when we get to it. It'll be hit number 2 in the pipe.
So here we go, starting off with his first feature known as Mr. T.
Pat, backside 720. Actually, it'll be the first hit in the pipe as he comes up here and sets for it on his backside wall. The half Michael Chuck. Inverted, off-axis, backside 360. Truly unique rotation into a switch backside 900. That combo, crazy. Right into a double. Not many people can do that on the planet. Put it down. So Pat, great so far. Real unique line. Into a double. We saw him falling at his first run. Oh, and he falls on it once again. So Pat Burgener right now. Burgener in 4th place. I don't see him. He's not bumping up.
Yeah. So the athlete out of Lausanne, Switzerland was looking very good when he exited that cat paw feature, Todd, with that final hit. looked like he had something going really well, possibly a high 80 score.
Yeah, the top 3 hits were insane. Here's the half chuck. Basically just a giant backside 360 where you're spinning parallel to the deck. Straight into the switch backside 900. Gets the grab. Got it. There, he gets it right there. That darn slow-mo really exposes everything, doesn't it? And then straight here, frontside 720 transfer out. And then tries to get this double squeaked around here. Just doesn't get enough snap to match the flatter style landing right there.
So Pat Burgener will have to hold on to that second run score of 83, which has him currently slotted in 4th place.
I want to see the vegan burger.
Yeah, we've not seen
Raibu Katayama, 23-year-old out of Japan, ended last season with a 2nd place finish at the U.S. Open behind countryman Ayumu Hirano. Really peaked his season, and here he is back for more, finishing 7th at the Olympics in the half-pipe competition. Toddy needs to get going. He started with a fall, came back, cleaned it up, but it wasn't as technical as the judges like to see, so now it's the pressure. It's the 3rd and final run, no reason to hold back.
Here we go, Raibu dropping in. Japanese riders are so good, and they're coming on very strong. Frontside 720, perfect landing. Here he is into the top portion of the modified super pipe. Front 1080, back to back. There's a double. Get those out of the way, so then you can kind of open it up a little bit and throw a giant frontside 1260 power carve straight out into the cat's paw. Backside rodeo flip, mute grab. And then right here into a switch double. Oh, unfortunately landing a little bit too flat, but Raibu had a great run going. So frustrating when it's the last hit.
Todd, the courage to go for the double there at the very end of the corral. He probably could have backed it off a little bit on his program and land something clean.
Yeah, maybe just a single instead of the double. But you know what? If you want to bounce into that top 3, you've got to really send it. So here we see a relatively pedestrian frontside 1080. And he combos that into a double, but it was his 3rd one. Louis Vito claiming that it is the best front double 12 in the business. I'm going to say I don't really disagree with him, because he comes around with such a perfect rotation that when he puts it down, there's no sketch at all. Full flat base, a lot of commitment into the next wall. And then he went into that power carve. There's the back rodeo. Kind of has a little bit of a hot board there. Doesn't hold the grab very long. Straight into this switch double, but lands really low on that banked wall.
Well, the heels kick out and he drops to his seat, so Raibu Katayama will hold on to that second run score of 56.67, and he will be in 7th. So for both the Ferguson brothers that are in the final, Gabe Ferguson will be up first on his final run out of Bend, Oregon. There you see his history. A 57.67 is the score he has right now, which has him currently in 6th, Todd. For both Ferguson brothers, I think I speak for all the viewing snowboarding population. We'd love to see them get a full pull, top to bottom, the program they want to lay down.
Yeah, there's nothing like having brothers on the podium together.
Yep.
So Gabe's going to have to bring something out here that just rocks the judges' minds. Starting things off, frontside 720, lands that, adjusts his line a little bit. There he goes into the super pipe up top. Big drifting air to fakie. Comes back in, lands that double this time nicely. I like that too, nose grab. Oh my gosh, it's the easy ones that get you.
And for Gabe Ferguson, the helmet comes off and the frustration is manifest. He had a great run going there. All the ingredients of a possible podium run, and it all comes done, Todd, as you said, on one of the easier tricks for him as he comes up short, lands on the heels, and washes out.
You know, and he got by that double cork 1080, and I'm sure that's all he was concentrating on. Just get the double cork 1080 out of the way, then you can kind of open it up, get a little bit looser. And we saw, you know, here's the air to fakie setup, gets the nose grab, punches it out over the deck. I like the English he put on his body there. Then the double. And I like the way he rotates his too. You don't see his back arm tucking up under his butt like a flying meatball. And then right there, there's that frontside 5. Just a little bit too much pressure on the front heel of the front foot. And washes out in the flats. Tough break for Gabe Ferguson. but he's got some of the best
And
style
that's just
in
such a
biz.
stock trick for Gabe. Just a huge front.
This
five
is Taylor
setup
Gold,
trick.
ready for his third
He
and
just caught him
final
off guard.
go-about. Remember, his
Well,
first
Taylor
run
Gold,
blew his
you heard something
binding
about
out of his
Taylor Gold. How did
board.
he fix the
His
binding
second
so
run
fast?
looked to be a good
Actually,
one, had a
just
small
before
fall at the
the
bottom where he
base
sketched out almost the exact same spot, and here he is for the third go-around. Now, if you're new to this format, it is 3 runs, but only your best run counts. So you can be, like Ben Ferguson is right now, mired in last place and still win this competition. The mark you're going to have to beat is put up by Australia's Scotty James, 93.33.
Yeah, you could technically roll into this contest and have a 1 is done as long as you put down a psychotic run. Here we go. Taylor, super top turn into the big stalefish to fakie, setting him up, switch into this next wall. Big 1080, making it through the super pipe part here. Big 5, now he's gonna transfer out. There is the inverted Michael Chuck into that McTwist. Can he get it this time?
Oh!
Plaguing him throughout the day.
I don't know if it was a full sit, Todd, but it was probably close enough that the judges are going to dock him, but this should be his best run of 3 on some borrowed bindings.
Oh my gosh, and he almost played hide the high back there. He landed so tight at the bottom of that banked wall. We'll take a look at that in a second, but up top, things were looking good for Taylor. I mean, look at this, the power carves straight into the stalefish to fakie. Everything was going right. And just like Ferguson previously, all he was thinking about was get a chance to put down that McTwist transfer. He fell on it. First run so hard, second run fell on it again. He was just looking for redemption. There's the backside rodeo, and then straight into the McTwist transfer. Snaps it up and over, and as I said, almost plays hide the high back right there. You don't want to sit on your high back, ladies and gentlemen. Square peg, round hole. You don't like that.
So Taylor Gold looking for something big, but it's not going to come. The judges docking him heavy on that last sit. A 35.33 will be his best offering, which has him no better than 8th.
We asked the judges for a 4-run format. Real quick. This just in, we're changing to a
Current standings halfway through the third and final run here at the modified super pipe. It is still Scotty James on top, 93.33. Chase Josey sitting in second, and Toby Miller sits in third with an 84.33. All of them still have their third and final run to go. Perfect conditions for this modified super pipe final for 18-year-old Toby Miller. This will be his last go-around.
Second place. So if you're Toby
Young man
Miller
out of
right
Mammoth
now,
Lakes, California, ready to go. And
what you know and just
Todd,
trying to go
you
big.
talk to him, and it's just no care in the world.
You're 18 years old.
He's just riding the planet and having fun and coming off
do?
a great performance a
Am I
few
gonna
weeks
do-
ago at Grand Prix.
Who am I going to get to do my laundry? Where am I going to eat pizza tonight? Like, what video game am I going to buy on Tuesday? That's the problems of an 18-year-old traveling the world to snowboard for a living. Okay, so what I want to see out of Toby here, and it's truly selfish just for me, I want to see him actually grab his board on the double McTwist 1260. Stop grabbing your boot. There's that big lawn dart in, the massive front flip. Here we go, Toby dropping into his first hit. Big front 9, actually, front 12. Straight into another 12. Scotty, Toby going on one here. Oh, trying to just up the bar. Unfortunately, he's not going to better his third place position, but man, that 12 to 12 combo.
Back-to-back 12. So young Toby Miller, with concerns of where he was going to get pizza tonight, thrown into the back seat because he was thinking about throwing an absolute cooker to try to take down Australia's Scotty James in that 93.33.
There we go, Louis Vito, who's taken the black. I don't know if you've paid attention to Game of Thrones, but that is a full Game of Thrones reference. Okay, here we go. There is the nollie front flip, the lawn dart off of the Mr. T feature up top. Adjust the helmet, get the steez on point. Goes straight into a front 12. I thought that was going to be a 1080, but he knew that he had to bring it for run number 3. Into the double McTwist. 1260 gets that around. Obviously, he's got that trick on lock these days. Tries to really take it to 720 here, or maybe just gets a little bit wildly bucked out of kind of misses the grab, goes to the tail, can't get it, and he is just wild and free, spinning through the air like a throwing star. Unfortunately for him, Toby, on run number 3, didn't get it, but you know what? Run number 1 for him was an absolute smoker. 84.33 still has him on the podium.
You know you're a big deal when you've got Chloe Kim and Louis Vito down there checking on you. It looks like he's got a little bit of injury there, possibly on the left side as he unlaces that boot.
However, you got Chase Josey, Danny Davis, Ben Ferguson, and Jake Cates.
So Chase Josey sitting on an 88.33. That currently has him in second place behind the current leader, Scotty James, at a 93.33. So he's got some work to do here, Todd. He's got the skills, obviously, to get it done. Now, the conditions changing just a little bit. As you notice, the flags are blowing. Earlier today in the first 2 runs, absolutely no wind, but now a little bit of a breeze is picking up.
Yeah,
we'll see if that affects
that. That wind's not going to do anything for him. The biggest concern they have is that landing off of that first jump. It's a little bit flat. It's not as steep as you would see in a slopestyle competition, so you have to be ready for it. Switch double, and unfortunately for him, not able to pull it out in run number 3. But still, sitting in second place right now, not a bad place to be.
So Chase Josey comes up short on his bid to take down Scotty James, 93.3. Now he will sit and wait and see if he stays in second place.
He cranks out a little method, a little power carve right there, alley-oop carve. And that'll do it for him. So now he has to sit and wait because there's a lot of heavies coming up. We got Danny Davis, Ben Ferguson, Jake Pates. Still so many that could bump up there into that top 3. There's that switch double. Unfortunately, can't get it down under him and goes into a slip out mode. Watch this right here. Pulls it around, tries to open up, find that transition with his legs, lands a little bit low, and just basically gets G-forced out right there. There's so much pressure pushing down on you. These walls are 22 feet. There's a lot of forces working against you. It's physics, ladies and gentlemen.
Current standings with just a few athletes to go in the third and final runs here at the Dew Tour. It's Australia's Scotty James leading the way with a 93.33. Chase Josey sits in second, and Toby Miller has completed his 3 runs. He is in third with an 84.33. But some of the best in the business still to come on the third and final run here at the Dew Tour and the modified Superpipe final.
At the Dew Tour Works booth, do it today because we're running out of time. We got today and tomorrow. No.
And then there were 4, the final 4 athletes to drop here in the competition. This is the third and final run. Danny Davis right now sitting on a best score of 75.67 for him. 3 runs, we only keep your best. And Danny Davis right now has got to think of a way, Todd, to put that whole run together smooth as possible. And I think if he does that, he is definitely podium bound.
Yeah, Danny just needs to just rock it a little bit bigger, land this a little cleaner. There's that off-axis backside rodeo 7. Gets that clean landing that he's looking for. There's that top turn set up. Power carve. Big, slow rotating front side 900. Look at the style on Danny Davis. There's the chicken wing McTwist. Pulling it up behind him. In the air to fakie tuck knee as well. Bringing all the style. Backside rodeo to stomach slap.
Oh, and for the Mountain Dew athlete, Todd, he had it going on. So much different tricks, things the judges hadn't seen before, so I'm sure they were excited to give him a big score, but he comes unglued and goes to stomach.
Unfortunately for Danny Davis, he had it really going on up there up top. Frustrating for sure. Starting that run off a lot cleaner, spicing it up a little bit with that Danny Davis style McTwist. Grabbing the nose on that kind of off axis, in between a backside 360 and a backside rodeo, grabbing the nose. There's that front 9. Slowly spun, a lot of control. Then right into this McTwist. Watch him pull that board up behind him. Nice. Super clean. I like this. The air to fakie next. Grabbing tuck knee. Not a lot of people grab around their knees anymore. It just shows you got more control and it's not all sloppy. But then, unfortunately for D. Davis, that backside rodeo, switch backside rodeo, grabbing stale fish, just landed a little bit too flat. Watch this as he comes in. Opens up a little early. That's what did it for him right there, and tries to whip his hips back and catch the landing. unfortunately for Danny Davis, such a good run up top and just unfortunately placed fall.
So Danny Davis will hold on to the 75.67, which has him situated right now in a top 5 position.
Good? Killing it. Thank you. You too. What happened to this guy?
Final 3 competitors to drop here at the Modified Super Pipe presented by Toyota. It'll be Ben Ferguson, Scotty James, the leader, and Jake Pates, the defending champion. First up, though, Ben Ferguson out of Bend, Oregon right now. And there you see the work he's got to do to get himself into the top 3. For a top 3 finish, he's got to overtake Toby Miller's 84.33. To get into the lead, it'll take a 93.34, and that is not going to do it.
It's not going to happen, but what we might see here now from Ben Ferguson is a truly unleashed Ferg assault. A lot of straight airs, a lot of style. Little frontside shifty to Stalefish. So Ferguson, no hope of making it onto the podium today, but all the chance in the world to throw a giant method air. So unfortunately for Ben Ferguson, not able to place where he probably would have liked to today.
Gives the fans here a show as he comes down the bottom section of this Modified Super Pipe with hands up saying, I don't know what to tell you.
So unfortunately, just going down up top early. Ben Ferguson, another person succumbing to that crazy hard impact landing off the Mr. T. So let's just check out what Ben did perfectly. Right there. Big poked out frontside air into this backside air, kicking it out over the deck. Full extension on that one, gets that back leg up above your head. That's when you know you're doing a method perfectly. Shifty, Stalefish, a little bit of twofer. I'm kind of wondering why we don't just at Detour have a best method contest off that hip right there.
Boy, think of the pictures you can get with the conditions today, and look at this big heavy layback surf slash.
Let's put that in the suggestion box for next year. At least they can get a bonus prize at the end.
You do no worse than second place here today. So it's
Scotty James, the current leader, with a 93.33 and 1 run to go. The worst he can do will be second place because the last man to drop will be the defending champion in Jake Pates. So, Todd, if you are Scotty James, the Fighting Roof from Australia, and you have that score of 93.3 plus an Olympic bronze medal in your pocket, what do you do here?
Same run he did before, just make it better. I mean, if he's got that combo that is just virtually untouchable here today. You know, you've got crazy setup into the switch backside 1080 into the backside 1260. You can't touch that in the top half of the super pipe. Now, where there's a room to improve, maybe down towards the bottom. Switch backside rodeo, Scotty getting bucked. That landing, not friendly. So, by virtue of that mix-up there, he's left himself a little bit vulnerable, but not by much. I'm going to say, you know, there's a small, soft portion of his armored breastplate right now that you could potentially get a lucky arrow through. No, I'm not going to say it. You all know what movie I'm talking about. But Scotty James has left it open just a little bit for Jake Pates to put down the run of his life and potentially slay a dragon.
And like we've seen so many times before, it starts with Mr. T. That first hit, Todd, that everyone seems to be landing in a gully or coming up short or trying to check up their speed, but something just throws them off their line.
That's right. You know what you need to do? You need to put Mr. T to sleep. It always worked in the A-team. In order to get B.A. Baracus on the airplane, you had to put Mr. T to sleep.
Look at this run one more time for Scotty James, the current leader, again with a 93.33.
Jake Pates, third and final run. He's got that crazy double 12 tail grab. He needs to put that in there because that'll be his big pipe move. And then he needs to sprinkle some more difficulty in there. But Scotty James, let's look at the replay here. This is Mr. T. And just delivering the beat down to Scotty right here. That landing, look at the hole. There's a hot tub right there for a landing. You got to be really on it, really light-footed when you set your board down in that landing.
So now it becomes a waiting game for Scotty James, and it's a pretty good place to wait at 93.33 lounge, which means that Jake Pates has to get at least a 93.34 to take the win. And if Jake Pates can get that 93.34, he will be a two-time champion here at the Dew Tour, but that is a tall order. So here we go, the final run of the day here at the Modified Super Pipe presented by Toyota. He is the defending champion, Jake Pates, out of the Eagle Vale area, just down the 70, but he has not had great runs today, Todd, a 22 and a 27, but it's a three-run format, only the best run counts. This is the final run of the day.
And if you remember back to last year, it was kind of a Hail Mary that won it for him here at the Dew Tour. Time to peak.
Backside double mix twist 1260 with tail grab that got it for him last year.
All right, setting things up here. Into the pipe. Here we go. He's got to bring something special. There's a giant double to get things started off. Into a dub 10. Into a second double. So here we go. Jake looking good so far. Big inverted frontside 360 transfer.
One more hit.
One more hit. Backside 1260. This is going to make things interesting. Now, do I think it's as complicated, as technical as Scotty James's Professor Switch run? No. But we could potentially see Jake Pates jump up into that top three.
Jake Pates currently sitting in 9th place with a 27.33. And Todd, I'm with you. This has got all the makings of a 90-plus score. Is it a 93.34? We'll wait to see.
Let's check it out here. Let's break it down. Tweaked out 540 off of Mr. T up top. Smooth landing, taking it far out to the side, avoiding that hot tub altogether. Giant double Michael Chuck. Firm grab on that one, total control in the air. Then straight into a double-double combo. We got the double right there, then he backs it up with the switch dub. Stomps that one out. Then right into this big inverted front three transfer. Drops that shoulder, sets him up perfectly. I did not think we were gonna see a backside 1260 right here. Snaps off of it, dips that shoulder once, comes around. Actually, that was a 9. That wasn't a 12, that was a 9, but he landed it clean. Very clean. I saw that shoulder go down. It's kind of more like a double 900. As soon as you see that shoulder dip, I just start adding rotations. So that being a 900, it's going to be a good run. If it was a 12, it'd be a different story.
Scotty James with a wry smile on his face. He's holding on to that lead with a 93.33, waiting for the score from the judges for Jake Pates, the final man to go here in the Modified Super Pipe Final. And what will it be? It's an 80.33, so the judge is not feeling it quite as much as possibly we were here up in the announce booth. Jake Pates does jump into 5th place from 9th, but it means that Scotty James will take the Dew Tour title here in Breckenridge.
Toby Miller in 3rd.
And let's send it down to Tina Dixon, who is with the champion.
Yeah, and I'd say Scotty James found himself in some very familiar territory. That was the scenario that happened last year. You were in the lead. Jake Pates dropped and knocked you out, but this time you held on to that lead. Where does this win stand?
Yeah, I was definitely not standing here thinking I had the win. You know, it was exactly like last year. It was Jake came down, took me out, but I was lucky enough to hold on to the win today, so I'm super stoked.
How critical was that first run for you?
Yeah, it was pretty critical, as though I didn't land the next two, so I'm pretty grateful that I landed the first one. But no, it was an amazing contest, and I think it was one of my favorites, and yeah, cool.
What would you say is the biggest difference from this event to the others that you have competed in?
You know, we ride the half pipe year round. It's always the same thing, maybe different location, and I think this one's really special because I probably got to give hands to Danny Davis. He's really revolutionized this and probably made this happen. And you know, I've had the pleasure of riding Peace Park before, and it had very much the same vibe up there all week, and then as well on competition day. So yeah, it is a snowboarders event, and I think everyone really enjoyed it, and I'm just stoked to be here and be a part of it.
And fantastic performance. Congratulations on this big win.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Breckenridge.
Todd.
Thank you very much, Tina. Congratulations once again to Scotty James as he takes the victory here at the Modified Super Pipe presented by Toyota. Scotty James, by virtue of his first run score, 93.33, gets the win. Chase Josey grabs second with an 88.33, and young Toby Miller on the podium in third with an 84.33 under near perfect conditions. Pat Burgener, great run, just finishing off the podium, and Danny Davis bringing all that style. He finishes in 6th place. For the Ferguson brothers, not their best performance of their careers, but they will be back indeed, finishing 7th and 10th, respectively. Let's take a look at the highlights of the top performances, Todd, as we take a look at Toby Miller, his best run of the day. First run, 84.33.
Run number 1 started off with a bang. Look at that big frontside lawn dart, that extended front flip off that first feature that everyone's been calling Mr. T. And it was the combos in the Super Pipe, the double McTwist 1260. Toby Miller was on fire early on, carrying the lead for quite a while. So Toby putting the combos together all the way down, finishing it off with the craziest switch backflip I've ever seen, and that would hold for just a little bit. And then we move on to this gentleman right here. Chase Josey comes out with a truly technical run, full of switch tricks, great combos off the bottom jump features. Altogether, just a great mix-up of tricks, style, and putting them in the right places, because that's really what it all comes down to, is making sure that you've got the check moves, making sure that you've got the transfers, but they've got to fit. This is a puzzle here today, and I'm telling you right now, Chase Josey put this thing together perfectly. So he would bump himself into 2nd place, bumping Toby Miller down to 3rd after run number 2. But it was all about this guy, Scotty James, coming out of Australia, putting down one of the most technical, adaptive runs we have ever seen in halfpipe history. Truly taking his style and technical prowess to this modified super pipe and showing what is possible when you blend technical halfpipe lines with perfect jump skills. Scotty James loving this format. 93.33 was the winning score on his first run. Big method air to cap things off. An already amazing season for Scotty James. He's going home with a perfect holiday gift.
So Scotty James walks away as the champion of the Modified Super Pipe here in Breckenridge, Colorado, as Progression takes yet another step forward. The Australian with a bronze medal in Pyeongchang, winner of the first Grand Prix, and now the champion at the Dew Tour. Congratulations to him and all the athletes participating today in Breckenridge. On behalf of Tina Dixon and Todd Richards, I'm Todd Harris saying so long. We'll see you next time.
Welcome back to Dew Tour 2018. You're about to watch Dew Tour Live. Chris Cote here with Todd Richards.
I'm still here.
Todd, that was amazing.
Modified super pipe is my new favorite type of super pipe.
Look, I wrote this down. Do you think modified super pipe will continue and possibly even replace standard super pipe in the future?
That's a good one. You know, I'd love to say yes, but unfortunately, I think that, I mean, it will have its place here in snowboard history. I think that, you know, the judges in like the big ticket event like the Olympics, I don't think the Olympics could wrap their brain around there being that much freedom of choice with the riding.
Right.
But it was crazy today, and it was one of my favorite things to see because we see guys like Scotty James have to bring their slopestyle background into it, and
it's a mix.
You know, when I was riding pipe, and that was my bread and butter, was riding half pipe, doing contests every weekend, trying to collect oversized novelty checks and big heavy trophies. I was riding the park. Like I would ride the park to the pipe, then go back down and do. So it was all like one thing. It seems like we kind of shifted away from that, and there became a lot of specializing.
Separation,
right, there's big specializing in that, and you know, people wouldn't even ride; they just hike the pipe forever. So I'm glad to see that this event kind of brings all these elements together. And as Scotty James said at the end of his run there when they were getting the interview, Danny Davis really did have a big influence in this, and Danny Davis's Peace Park kind of brought that new way to think about half pipe. It doesn't have to be a traditional 6 or 7 hitter.
Well, it was so much fun to watch. Toby Miller right here getting third place. Toby Miller's third and final run was almost that was almost going to be in that high 90s.
We're going to be talking about this kid Toby Miller for a long time.
And you got Chase Josey, who's been on a tear.
Chase Josey, just a couple weeks ago at the event that happened over at Copper. Super good performance there. Really unique rotations, but today was really all about the Australian powerhouse that is Scotty James.
I mean, the Iceman came through on his first run, dropped a 93.33. That was a score basically that either shut the door on the rest of the field, or, you know, there's two ways they can go about it after a score like that, right? The field can rise up and try to battle back, or the field can just get iced out. It felt like the field almost got iced out by Scotty James right from the get-go.
Well, what I like about Scotty James and just his approach to riding is, you know, he basically came up like in Shaun White's shadow. Like, you're never going to beat Shaun. You're never going to beat Shaun playing Shaun at his own game. But Scotty James and his coach James Jackson really took a look at what it would take to take down a guy like Shaun White and tweak the format. So Scotty went, you know what? I'm going to do everything switch backside, the hardest moves in snowboarding, and take it to them in the technicality department. And he came through in spades today. I mean, he killed it. He blended, obviously, jump skills. He's got great air awareness, and he just took that and blended it with his crazy runs in the pipe. I mean, switch backside 1080 into a backside 1260. Ain't no one touching that.
Well, I think one of the coolest things that we saw start to kind of come into fruition during that event was that mix of old school and new school. One of the favorite tricks that I saw done, switch method. Danny Davis did one. There was a couple in there that were just insane.
Yeah, it's anytime you're going switch backside, you think about doing something completely blind and opposite footed. If you skateboard, go to the top of a vert ramp and switch drop in. I guarantee you your knees will be shaking. Now, never mind a 22-foot deep super pipe and you have to carry Mach 10 speed into your switch backside wall. It changes the game completely. Here we go, Scotty James dumping it in switch. Straight into that switch backside 1080. I can't even believe that's even happening in snowboarding. And then into the back 12. That combo is so bonkers.
Now, what about starting with that Mr. T spine at the top of this run? That has to throw the riders off who are just so used to dropping straight into the pipe.
It's good. It kind of, you know, you kind of have to mix up your line a little bit. That impact did start get a little hot tubbed out. A lot of heavy impacts right there starting to make a crater. So you had to like really land delicately. Scotty James, lucky he put that run down early on, because as we went on through the event, having some problems there, you know. So Scotty James, he is legit, as legit comes.
The big finish with that amazing, that epic method at the bottom of the hill. There was some near misses. There was almost a couple runs that were going to be right up there in podium contention. Jake Pates had one. He ended up in 5th place. Danny Davis was right there. It seemed like the bottom of the hill, the last 2 obstacles down there gave our riders some trouble.
And you want to talk about one of the craziest things I've seen in a long time. Taylor Gold today taking off on that McTwist transfer into the flat bank wall and just dropping out of a 3-story building, completely almost sticking his high back.
Blew through his binding.
Blew his binding up. I thought the high back was going in a dark place, but luckily his board didn't break. He didn't break. It was his binding, and he could go get another binding from his coach and straight back out there.
Heavy slam. Came right back, put together 2 more runs. So, yeah, thank you, Gold, for doing that for us. That was amazing. Dude's a warrior. Well, yesterday we saw the women take to modified superpipe, and they absolutely destroyed the place. We saw some crazy jumps. Anna Gasser was the big story of yesterday, and there's just an incredible overview. We've got ski slopes out there practicing down there, so of course so much more action coming from Dew Tour today. But let's look back at yesterday. The story of the day was all Anna Gasser.
Anna Gasser is my favorite snowboarder.
She's really good.
She came out last night and not only killed it yesterday during the day, but winning the Trans World Rider of the Year award as well. So massive weekend for Anna Gasser. Look at that backside double cork 1080, locking into that melon grab. Look at just such perfect air awareness. She knows exactly where she is the whole time. And then comboing that into a big frontside, popped out frontside 900 on the last hit there.
Every landing is so perfect.
Yeah, and it wasn't just there too. She came into the rail section and smashed it over there as well. So Anna Gasser, we're going to be talking about her for years and years and years to come. And I'll tell you what, yesterday I was talking to my other co-host, Todd Harris. She, for reals, just put, I think, the rest of the competition on notice, saying you guys need to come and step it up in the jumps because she's just going to be getting better as well. She's the first woman to ever put down a triple off of a straight jump. Not that I'm saying that I'm a gigantic fan of the triple, but the technicality it takes and the absolute commitment to learning that trick it's nuts.
Well, it's going to be a huge contest season for Anna Gasser, no doubt. Well, speaking of contests, we've got a lot more competition coming to you today. This is one of my favorite things to do. I get to introduce Todd Harris and Luke Van Valen, who are going to come in here and throw it down. More skiing to come. Yep, there we go. We're gonna go to more
High school
action
AV.
here.
We're going.
Dew Tour. Hey, this is Dew Tour Live. Anything can happen. This is our show. Let's get wild. We're gonna come back with more skiing. Todd Harris, Luke Van Valen. We'll be right back.